March 8th is International Women's Day, and there are so many ways that we could celebrate this day. There are amazing women that spearhead initiatives, and today we have Dee Sanae, who's going to share her story. This year's theme for International Women's Day is Embrace Equality, and that aligns with the mission of your organization, Dee, Mosaic Visions. Can you share more about the work that you do as the leaders, the head of Mosaic Visions?
Well, thank you, Lloyd, for having me. And today I'm very happy to be a part of this talk about International Women's Day with the theme of embracing equity, which falls in line with the mission and vision of Mosaic Visions. I started Mosaic Visions in 2020 in light of, not in response to George Floyd. I'd always been doing this work, but it seemed very serendipitous that everything came together, and what work that I'd been doing in the Jewish community and the community at large fell into what we now know as Mosaic Visions. It is a grassroots organization that strives to create a more tolerant, just society through arts, education, and alliance building, and we promote equity for communities of color and historically neglected communities with a focus on Jews of color.
Well, that is pretty amazing. And as far as your educational part, what is your method? How do you get your message out there, what you're doing?
In addition to how I'm creating education, I did a lot of storytelling and elevating and amplifying Jews of color voices that were not prominent. People had not in the Jewish community met a Jew of color, did not know that they, really existed, or they had never met one. So I did a lot of working with some of the boards. I did some congregation work with some synagogues. And I also work in terms of DEI in the academic space on programming. And this is outside of Mosaic, but just, my whole life's work is really committed to the education and awareness piece of diversity and inclusion. But what does that look like within your organization? How do you build a culture that is inviting and welcoming and healthy to retain and have people feel safe that are marginalized or disenfranchised or people of color?
And as far as, bringing this up from a little grassroots organization, I'm saying you're getting more awareness now. Could you tell us a little bit about what Mosaic Vision is doing to help, or what's being done to help increase the awareness of this great organization and your mission?
A lot of stewardship, a lot of relationship building, a lot of trust building, and a lot of coalition building. So, I meet with many people from different organizations. I go to a lot of events. I do a lot of speaking engagements. So that, is in terms of the awareness of the Mosaic Visions. Certainly during COVID, I really utilized that virtual space through, networking and connecting with people that, as you know, Lloyd, you would never have, if you're not living in the same community or neighborhood, you're not connecting. So I always say that's the silver lining of COVID, that people were, wanting to connect virtually. And so I have a presence in Israel and Canada, and also in the UK, and also in the Netherlands. I did the first ever Black and Brown multiracial Jewish diaspora art festival.
Oh, that's so
That
interesting.
celebrates, those in the community that did not feel completely welcome in the mainstream Jewish community. And that our first one was virtually last year. It will be again this year in person. So I'm super excited about that.
Well, I would definitely like to take a look at that and see what you have going on, the visual arts and any other type of advocacy that you do is just, it's great that you're doing to the cause. And have you been like speaking out in public forums in addition to like these little local things? Or, I mean, you're saying you're doing it all online. Are you doing mostly online or a lot of in-person
Yes,
stuff
I'm
now?
doing a lot online. As you know, we've reopened a bit, and things are slowly going back into in person, but we're still utilizing that hybrid space. So a lot of times I'm still doing speaking, whether it's in person, but I do actually have an engagement coming up, speaking about Black and Jewish relationships and civil rights, but also what that means for a Black Jewish people like myself, for the Federation, the Jewish Federation.
Well, that is excellent. Describe what it is with the International Women to Watch. If you could explain that just a little bit more.
Yes, I was honored to be a part of a wonderful group of women in 2020 in March. That was in person. It was my first in person since COVID, and it was spectacular. I was on the stage with, women, Jewish women that have impacted society through their work, social justice, philanthropy, business, nonprofit. So it was just really exciting to meet so many women that came in to celebrate each other, and network, and just like really, really uplift each other. And I think, in the light of International Women's Day, that's the spirit that we should always have every day.
Well, that's true too, right? Just because today is the one day to recognize it, because part of your mission is to keep that present all the time, not just one day a year. Well, thank you so much, Dee, for coming on in and talking to us today and celebrating International Women's Day with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lloyd, for having me.